In this video, we're gonna take a look at the Motorola Razr Plus and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5, and we're gonna start right away with the appearance. The design of both devices is similar, but there are a few differences. The Galaxy has flat sides while the Razr has curved ones. Both have their pros and cons, but Motorola has a better grip when holding it. The curved frame makes it feel more comfortable, and it's just a little bit easier to open it because of the flaps curving inwards where they meet, allowing the fingernail to grab the other side and flip it open. Samsung, however, feels a little bit more premium. As for the overall size, Motorola is just a tad wider and taller, which means a little bit more screen area. I'm talking about the main screen. Another difference is that on the Galaxy, the cameras are sticking out more than the Motorola, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Also, a panel difference in both devices. I would say a panel finish difference. On the Motorola Razr Plus has a matte finish with the Motorola logo etched on it. On the other side, the Galaxy has a glossy glass panel that attracts a lot of fingerprints. When closed, both phones have almost identical thickness, and their weight is also similar. Both the Galaxy Z Flip 5 and Motorola Razr Plus can close with no gap, which is great, so dust and other pocket debris won't have a way in between the screens. Actually, to be more specific, there is a little bit of a gap on the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5, but really hard to see. I will show you why. Talking about the gap, Samsung has these little rubber pads on the bottom of the screen, so the screen will rest on it, preventing it from completely sitting flat. On the other hand, the Razr rests straight on its bezels. Now, one thing to point out, since Samsung will rest on its pads, it will prevent the bezels from crushing the dust particles, which will keep them looking nice and shiny in the long term. Now, if you were wondering about the display crease, well, it's less noticeable on the Razr. You can barely feel it, but it's more visible on the Galaxy. Also, the Galaxy Z Flip 5 comes with a factory installed screen protector film, which will help in prevent the scratches. Fortunately, the Razr doesn't feature a screen protector, but you can look up some aftermarket options for that as well. The cover screen on both devices is really awesome. In terms of size, Motorola features a bigger screen that goes nicely around the cameras. On the Galaxy, the screen is just 0.2 inch smaller than the Razr, leaving it at 3.4 inches. The screen has a cutout to avoid the cameras. Now, if we look at the both devices, we can see that display on the Galaxy is positioned higher, closer to the hinge, giving it a more natural and balanced look, and because of that has an advantage. It really improves the reachability of the navigation area where the buttons are on the lower left corner. On Motorola Razr, you kinda have to stretch your thumb to be able to reach it, and it's not really convenient. Galaxy Z Flip 5 has a little better reflective coating on the outer screen than the Motorola Razr Plus, which will help a little when using the screen outdoors in a bright light. Now, in terms of using the cover screen, Motorola has this really annoying continuous hunt to adjust the screen brightness, where the cover keeps going from dim to bright and so on. I actually had a closer look at the screen to have an idea where the light sensor might be, but I could not find it. My guess is that when using the screen, the thumb goes over it and triggers it. I know it can be fixed with a software update, but I am curious if anyone experienced or noticed the same phenomenon Please leave a comment down below if you face that. Now, leaving that aside, both cover screens are great, but the overall experience is better on the Galaxy Z Flip 5. And I'm going to elaborate on that. First off, the Galaxy has way more options to customize the lock screen widgets, huge selection of fonts for the time and date, plenty of colors, text alignment options, and sizing options. If we take a look at the Motorola, we only see a fraction of what Samsung offers in terms of customization. Not so many color choices, 2-3 a selection of typeface, and not able to change the layout or the text alignment. Second, the widgets on the Galaxy are better optimized and designed for the little cover screen. They just show the information in an efficient way in order to take advantage of the display. Take the weather app as an example. On the Motorola, it's only a brief preview of the data unless you tap on it, and it will take you to a more detailed screen. On the Samsung, everything is shown there without having to interact too much with the screen. Just a simple scroll and that's it. Another example would be the calendar. On the Motorola, we are not able to see the future events as we do on Samsung. Third point is switching back and forth between widgets or apps. The Galaxy has this pinch out feature where it will zoom out of the universe and provides a bird's eye view of the widgets, which really speeds up things if you have to switch in between the widgets or apps. On the other hand, the Razr 40 Ultra has no way to quickly switch between unless you slide one by one. Now let's praise Razr's ability to natively support the usage of pretty much any app on the cover screen. That's really cool because the Z Flip 5 only supported 5 apps right out of the box. Well, sort of. I still had to reach for the settings app and enable the Galaxy Lab feature for that. However, I was able to get Samsung Good Lock, which is an alternative launcher for Galaxy phones that can be downloaded from the Galaxy Store in certain regions of the world. So it's definitely not a default feature and it requires just a few more taps to get it to work. I've already done a video on how to get this launcher and I will include the link in the video description. Now in this quick demo, I'm demonstrating how Reddit app looks on both the cover screen, and as you can see on Samsung is just showed way better than on Motorola. Now of course we can full screen the app on the Motorola, but the camera is gonna be in the way, so some of the application sections on the bottom bar would be inaccessible. So that's one downside of the Motorola cover screen. Performance wise, they are both similar, except that the Motorola has a year-old chip. It's the Snapdragon 8 Plus Generation 1, which is found in the Galaxy Z Flip 4. So Galaxy Z Flip 5 is using the newer and slightly more powerful Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. Now, is it a huge difference? Well, yes and no. Both of those chips are flagship chips and have plenty of performance. So for a majority of users, there will be no noticeable differences. But for those who care about having the best performance, or for gamers, the Galaxy will have an upper hand. Motorola features a 3800 mAh battery, and that makes it one of the largest battery among flip phones, while the Galaxy is using a slightly smaller 3700 mAh battery, but that's not gonna matter much because the newer and more powerful efficient chip on the Galaxy kinda evens out. In terms of wireless charging times, Flip 5 definitely has the upper hand. On the wired charging, you can expect better performance on the Motorola Razr Plus. Now it's time to compare some images and talk about the cameras on those great flip phones. And this is the first image shot with the main camera against the sun. As you can see, lens flare very similar, just a little bit stronger lens flare on the Razr. And on a closer look, we can notice the color shades are different. And in terms of details, I won't be able to tell the difference. Another shot with the main camera, and we can see on the Razr the image is a little bit overexposed, so that means a little bit more light. On the other hand, the Motorola did a pretty good job reproducing the image, but on the detail side they are very similar. This is another picture shot with the wide lens. We can tell on the Samsung the camera is wider than on the Razr. At the same time, the lens flare is worse on the Motorola. Now at a closer look, I would say the Motorola is just a tad better on reproducing the details on the wide camera. This is an inside shot, and we can already tell the pattern that the Motorola has a warmer tone for its images compared with the Galaxy Z Flip 5, and at a closer look we can see the difference, sharper image on the Galaxy Z Flip 5 with the main camera. Another quick shot in low light with the main camera, and we can see that Galaxy Z Flip 5 reproduces better details in low light situations. Overall, they are both similar, especially on good lighting situation. They are very similar, but when it comes to low light, Samsung takes the lead. Now, to what we've seen so far, both phones are a solid choice. They are very similar in terms of performance and usability, so the choice is yours. Now keep in mind, Samsung will promise 4 years of updates. On the other hand, the Motorola will only get 3, so keep that in mind if you are concerned about that. But overall, as I said, you can go wrong with any of them. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment, and if you like this video, please click like and subscribe for more similar content.